So, nigga night. Close my door for me real quick. I'm about to go live. Thank you so kindly. You're such a nice kid, even though you're raggedy. Love you. Okay, love you too, huh? Huh. To reap what I have sown. This is my season for grace, for favor. This is my season. Good morning. To reap what I have sown. What up, y'all? I was listening to my gospel. Got to get up and listen to the God to start the day off right. But I just wanted to do our little morning. I'm trying to make this into a routine, a little morning coffee and chat with some agenda items. And today's agenda items, I really want to talk about all these people who are trying to explain their rationale behind why they didn't vote for Kamala, but decided to vote for someone they thought weren't going to win. Like, I truly, what's so interesting to me, I just made a video about this, but what's so interesting to me is that so many non-Black people feel the need, now that the election is over and all of this stuff is happening with the Trump administration, and thank you, glad to see you too, morning, and so much things are happening with the Trump administration, and non-Black people who didn't vote for Kamala are coming out and feeling the need to explain to us or give us a rationale behind why they threw their vote away. And what I find the most odd about it is, like, why are you talking to us? Good morning. Why are you talking to us? Why are you speaking to us? We don't need your explanation. We already knew what type of time y'all was on. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about him and TikTok in a minute, but I just think it's weird to me that they feel the need to now come on and give, and the explanation is for Black people. They're literally making videos speaking to Black people. Good morning, which is what's actually bothering me. It's like, oh, well, I don't, just because we didn't vote for Kamala doesn't mean we voted for Trump. That's exactly what that means. If you didn't vote or you threw away your vote and now you're in this precarious situation, that's absolutely what it means. Like, I don't, and I'm not saying that any of what Trump is doing is right. I don't want to spread negative rhetoric. I'm not justifying the bullish that's happening at the White House with the administration. But what I'm also saying is you can't throw away a vote and then say, we shouldn't be blaming you for what you're going through. Baby, who do you want us to blame? Who do you want? And the reason that this is being explained to us as Black people, the reason why people are feeling the need to explain their decision on who they voted for is because they've historically seen how Black people rally together in times of hard times or like whatever, or political crisis. And there's this desire now for Black people to organize in favor of other groups because of a decision that they made. And I'm not trying to be funny, and I don't want to generalize because I know all of one group didn't vote for him. But if an overwhelming majority of you did, or if you're getting on here and telling us that you made a decision not to vote for Kamala Harris, baby, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. The tears don't mean anything to me. If you decided, and you know what else is a privilege? And this is something that came up throughout this whole election for me, and it really bothered me a lot, was that I saw a lot of non-Black creators talking about, good morning, I saw a lot of non-Black creators talking about how they don't talk about politics on their page because it's not worth it, or they don't want to deal with politics and blah, blah, blah. And that's such a privilege. That's a privilege. And then the problem is, though, is when you're a part of another marginalized group and your rights begin to be taken away, you then want to speak out about politics. And that doesn't work that way. We, as Black people, as much as I would love to sit out of having conversations about politics, I hate anything political. I'm not a fan of politics in general. I know that I have an obligation to use my voice, whether on my platform or in real life, This is real life. But on my platform or in my day-to-day life, I have to use my voice to encourage people to make smart decisions that are going to work in the best interest of our society. Not in my best interest alone, but our society. So for you to be able to say you sat quiet during the entire election, saying that you don't feel comfortable using your platform for political reasons, and this is why you don't talk about politics, and now that you're the subgroup that you may belong to, that marginalized group, is now being impacted, and you want to explain to us why you did not vote for Auntie Kamala and why we should feel bad for you because you didn't vote for Trump. We don't care. You didn't vote for the best interest of the people. If you knew that there was one person that was going to be way less dangerous, honestly, and I'm not trying to be funny, all politicians is funny money. All of them, no matter if you vote independent, no matter if it's Democrat, no matter if it's Republican, they're all funny money. So at the end of the day, the reality is that we're voting for the best interests of our country, right? The place that we live. So it's weird to me. Oh, I don't know why your comments keep getting rude. Sorry. It's weird to me that anyone would then turn around and say, well, I didn't vote for Kamala and I voted for this other party who you knew wasn't going to win, and now you're in a precarious situation. I don't necessarily know that I want to hear that. Like, you had a choice. Everyone has a choice. When you went to the poll and you decided who you were going to vote on, and you knew, it's not like this is not public knowledge. We all knew that the other person who was running, whoever, I don't even know who it is, wasn't going to win. And if you knew that Trump was spewing, and the thing I will say about Trump, I don't say nothing good about this man. But he was very clear about everything he was planning to do, especially in this term, because he knew that this was the last time that he could run for president. So if you knew, and the one thing about that man is he'll tell a joke, but he don't tell no lies, except the fact that he was going to get the prices of groceries down. But whatever, moving on from that. You knew what type of time he was on, and you still made a decision to vote in what you believed was your best interest, even if that meant that other people would suffer. Because the reality of it is that Project 2025 was out there. The reality of it is that he was very clear on his mass deportation of of immigrants. He was very clear and upfront about that in the beginning. So for me, it's like you threw away a vote because you didn't care about people whose safety was at risk. Like you didn't care about the people who he was clearly saying that he was going to target, and you voted independent and threw away the vote, not thinking about other people who may be impacted by his policies and his practices. Like, y'all didn't think that through. So for me, it's like, now you're coming on here trying to explain to us that you made a choice to vote independent, and we shouldn't be mad at you, and we need to take it up with the people who voted for Trump. Baby, we taking it up with you. The thing is, the people who voted for Trump voted for Trump. They did that on purpose. That's the type of time they was on. They voted for their best interest. We already knew that. So why would we take it up with somebody who we know they did this on purpose? They wanted him to win. Do y'all not understand how politics work? So for you to say that you shouldn't be to blame because you threw away a vote is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I'm not about to argue with no. I've seen a Trump supporter in the comments here. I'm not arguing with them. They already know. They knew what they signed up for. It's not a joke. It's not. There was no confusion. So for me, thank you. So for me, I'm just like, why are y'all making these videos crying and telling us that we shouldn't be upset with you? I'm not even upset with you. I just don't want to hear from you. I don't got no feelings towards you. I just want you to know, I think what we are saying as Black people is that we rally together, and the statistics show the truth is in the data. Black men and Black women overwhelmingly came together. We band together and made a decision and voted for the best interest of everybody. That was a collective. So for people who decided not to do that, like, that is on you, and you need to take that up with your people. You don't need to explain anything to us. You know what I'm saying? And, and to the person in the comments that's clearly a Trump supporter, he did do what he said he was going to do. Nobody disagree. Nobody is denying that. We already knew that. And this is why I'm saying I'm not arguing with no Trump supporters, because they arguing with they self. We already know that he was going to do what he said he was going to do. He always has. He made that very clear. So we're not going to argue with no Trump supporters. And I really don't want to hear from non-black people who threw away their vote. That's just really what it is. Like, I'm not, and also everybody is entitled to their own political viewpoints. And if you made a decision, good morning, friend. If you made a decision to vote in a certain direction, that was your decision. You have unfortunately and unfortunately for some people, you have the right to vote. So if you did your research, and the thing is that, again, it goes back to the fact that so many people have chosen, especially non-black people, who came out and candidly said to people, or candidly declared to us in the world, I don't speak about politics on my platform. This is the privilege. And it's not until your privilege is revoked because you belong to another marginalized group that you want to now explain to us why you made a poor choice, a piss poor decision. It was piss poor. So for me, it's like, I'm not trying to beef with nobody, but also the tears, you can save it. The explanation, you can save it. Take the video down, sis. Talk to your people. Talk to your people. You know what I'm saying? Talk to your people. Do what you need to do with your people. But crying to us is really pathetic. I don't want to hear it. And when black people say that, I hate when people get on here. Hey, friend, I hate when people get on here and then say, well, black people need to stop acting like it's okay what Trump is doing because of people who voted for him. I did not say that any of that is okay, but what I am saying is that I don't have to listen to your crying. I don't need to hear your explanation. I don't have to hold your tears. It's not my job to do so. And yes, we see all the hate and bigotry and everything that is going on around us. We understand that. We see it, but we knew that was going to happen prior to him getting in office. He made that clear before he got in office. He told us that. He was very well aware. Project 2025 was laid out there. Whether or not he denied it, whatever you want to call it, it was out there. It was clear and it was in our face. He told us what he was going to do. And I can't blame him. I can't blame him. He did what he said he was going to do. Like, if him not being a good person is on brand. It is everything that he said. So for you to now get on here and want to explain to us why people should take their issues up with, we take our issues up with anybody who decided to throw away a vote or voted for Trump. And I'm not even fighting with people who voted for Trump, because I feel like that rationally, like, it makes sense. They wanted him to win because they believe in what he's saying. They are the same type of hateful people. So why would I think that they would do anything different? But for the people who voted for a third party irrationally and knew that the third party wasn't going to win, just because they didn't want to vote for Kamala and they threw away their vote, there's nothing about that says feel bad for me. I don't know. Like, you're crying to the world. Good morning, and I hope you are safe out there in California. You're crying to the world, but you're crying to the wrong people. And we're out here saying, well, we knew the direction this was going in. We saw it. It was clear. It was made clear to us. And those of us who voted for Kamala, it's, again, politicians are politicians. I don't believe any of them are great people. I believe that they're all out with a political agenda. And so for that reason, it's like we understand that we have to vote for the best interests of the general people, not just our people, the general people. And so if we decided to vote for Kamala, it was because we knew that that was for the betterment of our country, not just us, not just black people. It wasn't just about black people. We heard the hate that was being spewed in the political during the election. We heard him talking about wanting to do really not kind things to immigrant and kids of immigrants. He told us that he wanted to cut off programs such as Social Security and Medicaid. Like, we knew that. And the thing is that black people are not the majority on any of those programs that are being cut. The majority for those programs are white folks. And we knew that prior to, but they're elderly and disabled people. And so just like that, we knew Just like that, we knew that we needed to vote in the best interest of our people, the most vulnerable population. You chose to throw away a vote. You made a decision to throw away a vote and do what you needed to do. And so for that, now for you to come and try to explain to us why you didn't vote for Kamala is doing nothing for us. I don't really care. I don't care. So you basically voted for Trump and stand on that. Because when the election period came around, you stood on the fact that you wasn't voting for her, whether or not it impacted other people negatively. It's that was your decision. You said that you were going to vote on in your best interest rather than thinking about the rest of the country that you exist in. And now you want to tell us about why these things are messed up. Like I don't care. And this is why I'm saying you can't talk about people talk about America in such a way that is like unreal. It's insane to me because the way people talk about America is as though we're one unified group of people and we want to, and I don't know her name. Her name is Maya something. I made a video about this on my page, but they talk about America as though we're one unified people. And that's not true. It's not, the unification is not here. This is the problem is that so many people are invested in their own self-interest and then they blindly do things. Yeah, her name is Maya Ioni. She took the videos down, but I posted a clip of the video because I had saved it from before. But people are so invested in what they have going on that it's like they are doing what they feel is best for them. And when you make a decision that is best for you, and then you realize that the decision you made then empowered the person who was already spreading hate towards you. And now you're in a situation where you're like, well, I don't understand why people are not trying to stand beside us because we didn't vote for Trump, but we didn't vote for Kamala either. So then you voted for Trump. Do y'all not understand? I feel like, and the other thing is like, I know that the education system didn't do a great job at helping us understand politics, but I know y'all could at least follow social media because social media made it very clear. If you voted for a third party, then you put yourself in a situation to the situation that you're in. Like it's not like I at this point, it's common sense. We all knew that. Why do you think people were rallying? And then the thing is that those same people, and this is what drives me crazy, is like the same people who are now saying that they voted for a third party and people shouldn't be mad at them. You sat the whole election out not using your voice to speak about politics. You wasn't even jacking the third party that you voted for. You literally sat out of politics the whole time because you felt like you were able to do so, while other people were literally out here lobbying, advocating, spreading information, spreading awareness about Project 2025, talking about what was going on and how what the plans were that Trump was telling us directly. And you sat and you decided to still vote third party as you sat quietly and you watched other people, other marginalized groups on the front line that were literally some of us fighting for our lives. Because if I tell you the amount of hate that we get on a day-to-day in our inboxes and all that other stuff because we speak about political stances, you would be disgusted. But the point is that we made the sacrifice. Yes, people tell us to go unalive ourselves. Yes, people call us N-words. Yes, people like that is the type of hate that is spewed at us. And we still have to stand up and use our voice politically. And so for me, all of these tears that are coming out now, and it's okay. People of different opinions can be in the comment section. I don't have a problem with that. But at the end of the day, like we knew what people stood for. And so I'm not going to, I think it's like unfair to now try to target Black folks and say, well, you should feel bad for me. You should feel bad because I didn't vote for Trump. Why are you telling us that? Why are you explaining that to us? Do what you need. You did what you needed to do. And and us as people, and I'm saying I can say this, us as Black people, because majority of Black folks voted for Kamala. Us as Black people did what we needed to do. We came together for the better interest of our country. That was it. We already knew what type of time it was. They're all politicians. Let me explain something to y'all. It don't matter the color of the politician. Black people are never going to be at the top of the agenda for any politician because it won't ever work out in their favor. You get what I'm saying? Like there's not a president that's going to be able to stand out and be authentically Black. That's truly The two things that made Kamala lose is that she was black and she was a woman. And when she started to, people were questioning whether or not she was in touch with the black community. The minute she started to get in touch with the black community, everybody started saying that she was ratchet or she was inappropriate or she was making a mockery out of politics. It was like she either was not black enough or y'all wanted her to be blacker. She showed her black side, and then everyone started questioning it. Then the other thing was that she wasn't a mother. So everybody was like, oh, well, how come she's not a mother? Like, but any other day, it's like women can make the choice about whether or not they want to be a mother. Some people don't want to have kids, and that's fair. Like, that was the overwhelming issue. So for you to think that we were only voting in the interest of black people is insane. There's no world, no politician, there's no politician that at the best interest of black people is at the top of their mind. It just doesn't happen. We know that. This is historical for black folks. This is not new. This is our lived experience. People have been watching, we've grown up watching politicians and having to hear about this from our parents for this reason. We're not voting for our interests. It never is just in the interest of black folks. It's always in the interest of the greater good. But then the problem is that y'all then want people to turn around and carry, and after you've made a decision to vote for a third party, you want us to come and carry y'all on our backs and lift people up and fix things. I don't know. I can't do it. And again, it's a privilege to not have to talk about politics. It's a privilege to not care about, who wins the political. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to think that somebody would want to do harm to underprivileged or underserved people and be okay with that. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to think that this person who's in office is literally threatening to dismantle Social Security and Medicaid and be okay with that. When Social Security and Medicaid is literally the people just to be clear, black people, again, are not the people who get it the most or who benefited from it the most. The people who benefit from it the most are the elderly and people with disabilities. So the fact that y'all don't even care about people with disabilities, and with the fact that a federal judge had to step in and say, I'm actually going to pause on these programs that take care of some of the world's or the country's most vulnerable people, is a privilege. That's why people did what they did. So now I really don't want to, the tears around whether or not people should be upset with you. I don't care. And I mean, America has always proven that they don't care about the elderly and about children. That has been made crystal clear to us. But it's like, for you to cry to us now and say, well, I don't know why y'all are blaming us for Trump being in office, because you aided in him being in office. You supported him being in office. When you threw away that vote, you supported him being in office. When you voted for the third party, you know what I'm saying? When you voted for the third party, you voted for him because you knew that vote wouldn't count for anything. Especially if you were in a state where it was really close and you decided to throw away the vote. That's what you did. It really third party voters. It's not. That's when you think about, and this is the problem. People don't really understand what it means to come together and organize in a democratic way, because y'all all want to be democratic. If the third party voters, if we knew that the third party wasn't going to win, it was selfish to throw away the vote because there wasn't enough people who were willing to vote for the third party. So you knew that person was not going to win. So then the next option is, right, because this is, at this point, it's process of elimination. So if you know the third party is not going to win and you understand how politics work, because you have to understand how politics work, especially as black people, if you understand that the third party wasn't going to win and you still voted for the third party, knowing that vote could have been useful for us to not have Trump in office, then you supported Trump being in office. It's that simple. And again, I'm not blaming the education system does not do a good job at teaching us about politics. But at this point, Google, social media, it's really in your face. It is directly in your face. So it's like, for you to then, you made a decision. And so if he's in office, and y'all can say it makes zero sense, but it makes perfect sense. If he's in office now and you knew he wasn't going to win, you can see that there's a history of how politics work in America. You can't ignore history. That's just the truth of it. If you know that the third party has not ever won, that is not a thing that happens, then what would make you place a ballot for the third party? We've seen it in history play out. So now, process of elimination, you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. And your choice should not just be for you. Your choice should have been for the people. The people. Like y'all was okay with the fact that they were basically trying to hold immigrant folks in concentration camps. They're holding them in jails before they get deported. A lot of them not even get deported. They just sitting here in jails. Is that what y'all were cool with? That's what y'all was cool with. It like, and to me, it's like I refuse to acknowledge or find sympathy or garner sympathy. I have empathy for people who are experiencing the thing and didn't vote for him. I have empathy for people who are scared right now and are part of these marginalized groups and their groups voted against their best interests. I have empathy for people who are in danger because of this. I have empathy for those folks. The people who are coming on here crying about their people not being safe after they made a decision to vote third party, I have zero empathy for you. I feel nothing. In fact, I feel like your people shouldn't even be talking to you. I feel like at this point, your people need to disown you. That's really who need to be upset. When you come out and you say that you voted for a third party and your people are being impacted by it, your people they need to step in and say, we're done with you. That's really what they need to do. Those people, the people who are actually being impacted, they need to cancel you because you made a decision. The same way that as Black people, when we saw the way that the direction that people were swaying in, specifically Black people who decided to vote for Trump, it was like, okay, we're done. Like, cut off, move on. Let's move on to the next thing. Majority of Black people voted for Kamala in the best interest of the people. And when we saw that somebody was moving funny money, it was like, oh, you don't, and it was like, oh, well, this doesn't impact Black people. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. And that's how you know that the reality is that this is not this is not this is not what you think it is. And people saying Kamala was corrupt too. All politicians think it is. And people saying Kamala was corrupt too. All politicians are corrupt. And it's who is in the whose best interest are we thinking about? Like it's not, it is what it is. I'm not, and I know you love Trump. And this is the thing about Trump supporters too that I struggle with is y'all are a bit irrational because y'all have this idea that somebody is trying to fight with y'all about y'all love for Trump. I don't love no president. I don't worship no president. I don't worship, never love, I don't know them people. Y'all have this fascination. And the thing is that Trump supporters they want to antagonize people. And it's like you can love Trump. I'm not stopping you from doing that. That's your business. But y'all want to have these fights with people that are irrational. And this is why I can't argue with no Trump supporters either, because y'all are looking to gaslight people and to get in a back and forth with them. And it's like, if he won, why are you here trying to argue with people who didn't vote for him? Like, if he won and you feel like he's so great, then why do you need to keep telling us that? Think about it. When Biden won, I didn't see people walking around going, Biden won, It's almost like it's elementary. It is like it's like an infant. Like, you know how an infant be like, you lost the game. Like, that is what Trump supporters do. And that's why I don't argue with them. That's why I don't argue with them. I don't waste my breath because arguing with a Trump supporter is a waste of your time. It is like arguing with a child. Like, you being in here saying, we don't care, we love Trump. Nobody said anything about y'all loving Trump. Nobody said that you couldn't love Trump. Nobody said, it very much is giving grow up. You know what I'm saying? It's not the tea that you think it is, but I'm not mad at it. I say do what you got to do. But and honestly, I don't know if y'all know this, but we knew that y'all felt that way coming into the election. Trump supporters, they blindly love Trump. I don't know about y'all. Let me speak for myself. I don't blindly love anybody, any politician. I don't swear for any politician. I'm never going to tell you that the politician is the best person in the world. That's not who I am. I'm never going to do that. I do understand though that there are politicians who will be better serving for us than other politicians and who don't spread hate. And so for me, that's been the center of my voting. But again, like, everybody's different, and I don't know why y'all come on here being like, Trump won. But yeah, I truly don't believe that people who voted for third parties need to be crying to us is the moral of the story. I don't really want to hear it. It's not our problem to fix. We don't have to feel bad for you because you voted for a third party. You don't need to explain to us that you didn't vote for Trump, but you didn't vote for Kamala either. I don't need your explanation. You didn't think about other people. He literally told us all the things he was going to do. You made a decision. You made a decision that was in your best interest rather than the best interest of all the people. You heard all the hateful things that were being said about groups of people, marginalized groups of people. You saw how they were being attacked and targeted. You literally heard that the Trump and JD were telling people that Haitian people were eating cats and dogs. And that wasn't enough for you to say, let me not throw away a vote. Let me not throw away a vote, because and people started, there were threats to schools in that community in Pennsylvania because they said that people were eating cats and dogs. And that wasn't enough for you to say, let me not throw away my vote. Let me actually do something that I know is going to be in the best interest of people. I'm not Haitian. But that was hard to watch. I felt bad for the community. I'm not a Haitian person, the same way that I'm not Latino. But when they speak about in derogatory ways about Latino people, I have empathy. I knew that wasn't right. So what would make me think that I should throw away a vote knowing that means that's going to impact that group negatively? Y'all didn't think about. They got on stage and said that Puerto Rico was a floating island of garbage, and that's U.S. territory. What, I'm gonna be mad? You know what I'm saying? So do what you want. I can't have empathy for anyone like that. You know what I'm saying? And to a person in the comments saying cry, we're not crying. And the thing is that the comprehension is limited. And this is also why I don't argue with Trump supporters. I don't want to be funny, but to enter a conversation where we're talking about people who are asking for empathy for third party voters and saying cry, cry, cry like a 5-year-old, you can't. It's a waste of your time to get into a back and forth with someone who is cognitively not able to engage in an intelligent conversation. And that goes to, and I don't want to be funny, but that goes to the intellectual capacity of the people who put their vote in for him. Like, the intellectual capacity is just not there. And this is why I don't argue with them, because it's literally like arguing with a toddler. They can only say things like, cry, Trump won, we love Trump 2025. Like, we all know that he won. No one, we're not crying. I promise you we're okay. The real issue here is that we're talking about people who threw away the vote and want to cry. Like, I don't, and the thing is that they're so irrational that it explains their vote, right? It's so irrational that it explains their rationale. And I understand that they are Trump supporters, and I understand that they love Trump and the things he say they believe in, but it goes to show you that there's a lack of critical thinking. Like, you have to be able to critically think. Thank you. Rather than it is rhetoric that they bought into. Like, he didn't have to say anything that was intellectually engaging. He didn't have to stimulate anyone's mind. All he had to do was spew a bunch of hate, and all the hateful people came out behind him because they heard hateful words. It was that simple. It's not like he had to do much. It was really, that was the tactic. That was the tactic. It was like, oh, and oddly enough, his old press secretary or whoever it was literally came out and said that he himself said that Trump supporters were basement dwellers. He himself said that this is what his own press secretary, he said that all of his supporters were basement dwellers and they were not intelligent. And that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for them. Because you ain't going to talk about me like that in my face. You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna talk about me. But if that, you know what I'm saying? If that wasn't enough. And then they started the basement dwelling behavior. Cry, cry, Trump won, Trump 2025. Like, okay. Like, I don't know. What do you want from us? It's not, I can't argue with somebody like that. I can't argue with somebody who is called a basement dweller and is still like, I'm gonna vote for you. Like, and the uneducated love him. And I'm not even talking about like school education. I'm talking about education and common sense. Like, I don't know. I truly believe it, and this is the problem. Morning. This is the problem. It's really, it really is. There's a demographic of people. There's two demographics of people, right? There's the people who are clear outwardly, like intentionally Trump voters and Trump supporters, which is fine because everyone has the ability to choose a political stance. And then there's the people who voted third party because they were insistent, and I truly believe it was because Kamala was a black woman. I that's my personal opinion. I believe that people could not, and I've heard people say it. People did not want a woman or a black woman in power. So I believe that's why the third party voters voted for third party, because it was like, I can't see this black woman. I don't want this black woman sitting in this seat of power. So I'm going to vote, even if that means that I'm voting against the interest of the larger marginalized people that I stand for. I'm still going to throw away this vote because I am desperate to not have this black woman in power, and I don't want to see black women in positions of power. And that's really been what the problem is there's also, it's also statistically black women have them overwhelmingly like flourishing in education with degrees and in their work fields. And people are really feeling threatened by that. And I believe that their internalized racism, and whether it's implicit or explicit bias, their implicit or explicit bias said, I'm going to vote for this third party. And they rationalized it in their brain as they're doing something good. That's literally what it came down to. They literally said to themselves, and this is how bias works. And when you have blind spots, you can't be a freedom fighter and not acknowledge your blind spots. You can't acknowledge that when you live in a country like America, you can't ignore the fact that we all have biases towards certain groups of people. The problem is when you get to ignoring those biases. And so when they ignored the biases around black women, they decided to vote third party because they were like, oh, I don't want this black woman in power. And that's just the reality of it. And then and now that the decision has caused harm, people are looking to now find ways to align themselves. And to be quite honest, it's a lot of non-black women trying to align themselves with women. And this is where you start to see people weaponizing being a part of a marginalized group, right? Because it's like, you didn't care enough about black women. But then this is when you'll start to hear people saying, well, women need to come together collectively. Women need to band together and not think about, there shouldn't be any separation within the community because we're all women. That's not how that works. You can't ignore the fact that somebody is a black woman and then tell them to come together as women, because you completely ignored the fact that they're black women. Black women are different. Like, women in general are part of a marginalized group. That is true. Women are oppressed. But black women experience double oppression and double marginalization. And so if you really care about all women, truly as a woman, you would then come together with all women, meaning that you would keep the best interests of black women at heart as well, not just women that look like you. And then to ask black people to come and stand in solidarity with you doesn't really make sense. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And if we do our research, you'll see that black women have been at the center of every single like movement for change. And so and this is what I'm saying about why history is important. The real history is important, because if you knew the real history behind every single movement that has caused or affected change, you would know that black women were at the center of those movements. So it would be in your best interest to align with that group of people, the group of people who you know have historically been able to impact or affect change. So it's just like, even that in and of itself, that is being pro woman, not voting against the best interest of people because you don't want this black woman to win. That is, it's sick. It's sick. It is not. And the thing is too, is like Kamala wasn't allowed to run a campaign based on hate. She couldn't talk about hating any group of people. She could barely talk about being black. She literally did not run her campaign on being a woman or being black. And y'all bullied her into talking about being black. She talked about it. Y'all said she was too black. And then this other person ran a campaign on hate, and y'all still said, I'm not voting for this black woman because I don't want to support her. Let me vote for this third party who I don't even know nothing about. So you followed a third party this whole election knowing that the third party wasn't going to win? You followed a third party this whole election knowing that there was a high likely, like statistically, it was clear that they were not going to win. And you still made the third party vote. So you only cared about you. You only cared about you. There's statistical data. To the person who's saying they voted third party because there was a chance they could win, I want you to show me when that has happened. Statistically, I want you to use data to prove your point. Because that's the other thing. You can't just keep saying, like, the other thing is, like, some of these conversations are loaded in misinformation or just saying anything. You have to back it by data. You can't just say something. You can't just be like, that's not true. The third party could have won. Like, there is a system in place. We are all clear about the system. The system is designed in a certain way. You can't just spew words out and not have like this. It's rhetoric at that point. Like, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. When you know how the system works, it doesn't work that way. There's not enough third party voters for a third party to ever win. Now, please. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. And the way that y'all think about change is completely incorrect. And y'all don't understand systemic change. Y'all don't understand how systemic change works. Y'all don't understand what it means to be a part of a system. Y'all don't understand how systems work. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, you don't have a profile picture, but I can already tell you're not black. You know what I'm saying? I can already tell because black people have to understand systems of change. Yeah, it's okay for you to vote third party for you. And I don't need to see what you look like to know that you're not black, because we don't have a choice but to understand systems of change. When you think about how change has happened in America, that's never how it's happened. It's never happened with a small group of people doing one thing. It never happened that way. It's never happened with a very small, like, subgroup of people going to do a thing and all of a sudden change is effect. That's not how change works. Never has. And not even just in America. And this is why I'm saying the people are just doing things. You don't actually do research, and it's a privilege. It is a privilege to not understand how change actually works because you have not been directly impacted by change. It is literally a privilege because the impacts of the things that have happened in this country have not hit you hard enough. So you have the privilege of not understanding how to make change in America. You have the privilege of not doing research on politics. You have the privilege of not understanding because you have not done a no. The civil rights was not a small group. Like, this is what I'm saying. Again, this is it's power, privilege, and positionality. And when you have a certain level of privilege, you literally, no, I'm not assuming. I know this because anybody who's been impacted, I could speak to people who are non-black, who are of oppressed groups. I could speak to women who are non-black that not all women, obviously, but I could speak to women who are non-black who understand how change works. Why? Because it's a part of their identity and who they are. Like, what are we talking about? Like, boom. You get what I'm saying? Like, boom. Outside of even the Black Panthers, like the Islamic community, like, do y'all understand? And this is what I'm saying. We can't just say things. We can't just say things. But again, privilege allows people to sit in a space where they can have their own beliefs and their own biases are clouded because they live in a small world. their beliefs around society and how politics work is based on their very small-minded world, the very small subgroup that they belong to, around their own experiences, around their lived experiences versus the lived experience of the larger people. And that's the problem. That's the problem. And honestly, this idea of, I don't know if y'all know like the principles of white supremacy, but there's this idea of the right to comfort. And this is and it is very much rooted in white supremacy. It is not the thought of collectivism. It is not the thought of us working together as a people. It is how white supremacy keeps separation, and and it's rooted in individualism. And people who are not a part of certain groups and don't have certain experiences often think about themselves and their right to comfort versus, and this is what I'm saying. You have to want to unlearn. You have to want to unlearn as as if you don't belong to a marginalized group, or as a non-black person, or if you are a white person, whatever. You have to want to learn about things like the principles of white supremacy and how to undo them. Collectivism is how we undo white supremacy. And it's not just collectivism in one area. It's collectivism coming together and radically affecting change. That is what it comes down to. It is not you don't just sit around and say, well, I voted for the third party, and that's what that when you know that the third party is not going to win, that's not a strategy to effectively impact change. The strategy to effectively impact change would be the thing to do the thing for the group of people who are most marginalized in our country. And so, because a lot of you chose not to do that, what's happening now is that we're seeing programs like Medicaid, like Social Security, trying to be paused and taken away. They made it very clear that coming into this election, that they wanted to find ways to trim the budgets for programs that support our most vulnerable populations. Head Start. People need to go to work. They like kids. It literally, it is the smallest. Trump is also going to continue genocide. Like, this is all, I don't think you understand it. And this is the point. It's the better of two evils. When you understand the better of two evils, when you understand what you're working with, it's like y'all are saying, well, she was going to continue genocide. So was Trump, but I threw my vote away because that's all I knew about her. Versus Trump is saying he's going to do all these things. I know he's going to win. If I don't vote for Kamala, I'm going to throw the vote away. Okay. They literally, yeah, they drafted a whole plan to try to end the genocide that was happening, but nobody believed them, nobody cared. So it to me, it's like, okay, well, you did what you did, you voted for a certain group of people, and I can't and honestly, it's not worth, and again, I said this earlier, and I'm contradicting myself, because it's not worth arguing with certain people, because there is a level of it's being intentionally ignorant, for lack of better words. You're intentionally trying to avoid the actual truth and the data and the statistics. We could talk about data and statistics all day, and it doesn't matter to certain groups of people, because it is literally just, it is what it is. Like, you've already said. And the other thing is, you're trying to defend your stance. You're trying to defend your wrongdoing. A and if you're trying to defend your wrongdoing because you voted for a third party, then this is a waste of time. Because you see what's happening, and instead of saying, you know what, it would have been better off if, because the reality is that the truth is that it would have been better if Kamala was sitting in office. But instead of being able to say, damn, I was wrong, I made a mistake, you want to defend the willful ignorance that you are clearly participating in when you voted for a third party. And to that I say, do what you want. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want. Do what you got to do. And and to be honest, y'all can continue to defend the third party voting, and again, and you saying someone is a pretend activist doesn't even make sense. She's black. She's black. Black people have to, like, and this is what I'm saying. I can't, certain groups of people will never understand it, because you don't interact, or you don't have the same. Of course, Democrats could have did better. And this is what I'm saying. I'm not here to swear for any party. I don't swear for anybody. I think Democrats are trash. I think Republicans are trash. I think the third party is trash. They're all trash. All of them. I don't know why y'all think that people are sitting here defending. I don't care about any of them. I don't think any of them are good people. This is what I'm saying, and this is what I mean when I say that a lot of people have this irrational affinity to certain politicians when they don't give a damn about none of us. They don't give a damn about none of us. Like I know what I said was vote in the best interest of our nation, of marginalized groups of people whose voices have often been silenced. The goal was to vote in the best interest of people whose voices are silenced and have been silenced. The goal was to vote for immigrants who are being threatened to be deported, knowing that they can't vote for themselves. The vote was for marginalized groups. We understood the assignment. And that's the difference. Y'all swear behind some of these politicians. They all lie. They all lie. They're all lie. I don't know what you want. They all lie. None of them are honest. They're politicians. That's a part of the job description. At this point, I don't so for me, it's like again, when we make a decision around voting, we're voting in the best interest of our country. We're clear that it's the better which one is the better of two evils. That's just the reality. It's all a money game. It's all about power. It's all about the whole political landscape is messed up. Like, come on, what you know what I'm saying? Listen. Y'all have to be. We have to be realistic. We just have to be realistic. We know that these people are not good, and anybody who blindly supports third parties, Trump, anybody who's just like, oh, this person is so amazing. You're not a rational human being, and I never thought you were. Anybody who is like, all right, this person is so great and is like fully supporting or behind all decisions that a politician makes, I don't even trust you as a human in the first place because you don't understand how politics has worked in this country. And I don't give a damn what group you belong to. I don't give a damn what race you belong to. I don't trust nobody like that. Never will. So for all the people who are like Trump, okay, like I don't know. That's not what this conversation is about. That's not what it never has been what the conversation was about. And if you can't understand the conversation, that's just the reality. If you don't understand how systems of change work, then you can't, the conversation it's a moot point because we're not speaking the same language. There's strategy and then there's reactionary. There's understanding long-term change and then there's right now instant gratification. Like you don't understand the impacts of those two things, and so I can't have those conversations because the problem is that we didn't use strategy. So many people were a lot of people were voting with their own self-interest. They didn't think about the bigger picture. They didn't think about how this would impact them. They didn't think about the fact that the third party wasn't going to win. That's just what it was. So, like there's strategy and then there's just making a decision for your best interest. And yes, I believe that people should vote in their best interest, but also the best interest of the country, the best interest of margin. How do you not care about the most vulnerable populations when they clearly told us that they were trying to take away funding from programs like Medicaid and Medicare, knowing that people who are using Medicaid and Medicare barely have access to adequate health care in the first place? That should have been enough. That should have been enough. You know what I'm saying? I listen. And if you hospice funding, literally things that have been created to take care of people who can't care for themselves. If that's not enough, if humanity is not enough for you, if the interest in humanity doesn't do it for you, then it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. And I do have faith that this upcoming generation, the Gen Zers, I have faith that the Gen Zers will make smarter decisions and be able to organize better because they've shown that they stand on the side of justice. And I really have to give credit where credit is due because I think Gen Z is going to be the real group that makes change because they about their business. And one thing about them, they stand on business. And I as soon as they get into space, they not on no type of weird timing. They not the type of people, you know what I'm saying? They not the type of people, I don't know if you've noticed them, but they don't stand for nothing. They not with none of the bullshit. And I love that about them. I can't lie. Sometimes they be putting my kid, the way that they be trying to get their life together. Okay, give them a minute. Give that like that the no, not that Gen Z. I'm talking about the latter end of Gen Z, the Gen Z that's coming into their own, the Gen Z that has not participated or whatever. That group of these kids nowadays are not with no bullish. It's Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They not with no bullish. They're not. And they're not. I truly believe that when it's their time to shine, they gonna be the people that make change. Cause honestly, they not with no bullshit. They're just not. They don't want to hear nothing we talk. All of the stuff that old people used to tell us, and all of the craziness that old people used to believe and just be okay with. They not even Gen Z is not even staying in jobs. Like, I mean, millennials are not either, but Gen Z is really not taking no bullshit even from their jobs. They don't care. They don't care. They're like, what? What type of time you on? And so I'm truly, yeah, Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I really have hope that eventually when they come up, that they'll be able to make smart decisions and organize, because they really have. You know what I'm saying? Not all Gen Z. The Gen Z you're talking about is like the beginning, like the latter half of Gen Z. I'm talking about after that. The younger Gen Z generation that's coming up now, they on timing. They on timing. They don't stand for nothing. I'm not. This is not when we were kids. They outside. If they got to show up, they gonna show up. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I have to give credit where credit is due. And I really, thank you. I really do have faith in that generation, because I believe the way that they move. Listen, them babies don't even take nothing in school. They not all of that stuff, y'all. They not buying what them people is teaching them in them schools. They are talking out and they're speaking out, and I love it. So I really have faith that they're going to be the change, because I think ultimately this is a wash at this point. We've seen it. Like, this is the second time Trump is in office. Like, people, we've already seen how people are voted, or what they need, or what their interests are in, even if it involves hate. So I think we just got to move on from that. But I think that generation is with all the bullshit. I really do. So I have faith in them. I think that they're going to impact change. And yeah, but the moral of the story was, and the reason I came on live is because if you waves on swim, so they hate on him. Sorry, I'm focusing on my bad, y'all. But the waves on swim, so they hate on him. But the reason I started this live was that we really, the why ends and all, dead serious. The why ends too. But the reason I started this live is because we don't want to hear from people who voted third party telling us that we shouldn't be annoyed with them or upset with them, because you're a part of the reason that Trump is in office. Period. Point blank period. Especially if he was in a swing state. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Y'all better not drown. Y'all better not drown in this hole. Y'all better not drown in this hole. You know what I'm saying? But not drown. All right, y'all. Love y'all. I got to go do some work. This was fun. I'm glad y'all came on with me. Y'all know I be on here talking my ish. I love a good rant. So, love y'all. Stay safe out here. Yeah, and don't let nobody's tears, you know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody's tears come bring you down. We don't want to hear it. Cry to somebody else. Save the tears for your mama. Put it in a bucket. Save it for yourself. We out here. Later, y'all.